We're still looking at equations of circles. This time you're not given a graph, you are just given 2 points. Okay, 2 points on that circle. So we're still using our standard form. Okay, our standard form is right here. With our center at HK and our radius R. So in our examples today, we will be given the endpoints of a diameter. Okay, so put your phone down, please. So that means you need to find the radius and you need to find the center point. Okay, so in number 1, we want to write an equation for a circle if the endpoints of a diameter are at 3, -3, and 1, 5. Okay, so first thing I want to do is find the center. Okay, to do that, you need to find the midpoint. Okay, so we want to find the midpoint of those 2 coordinates. To do that, we need to average our x's and average our y's. Okay, so add your 2 x's together, divide by 2. Add your 2 y's together, divide by 2. Okay, so my 2 x values in my coordinates here are 3 and 1. So I'll add those, divide by 2. And my 2 y values are -3 and 5. Add those and divide by 2. Okay, so I have 4 over 2 and 2 over 2, which is just equal to 2, 1. Okay, and that point is your center. Okay, so I'm finding the midpoint of that diameter. That is the center of your circle. Okay, so since this is the center, that is your H and K point. Okay, your H and K values there. So to write out my equation of a circle, I still need the radius. So my next step is to find the radius. Okay, to find the radius, we're going to use the distance formula. Just like we did yesterday. Okay, so we're using that distance formula, and the 2 points that you need to use is the center and then one of the other endpoints from your diameter. Okay, so we want to use the center and one other point on the circle. So I'm going to use for sure 2, 1. And then I can pick one of these 2 points. It doesn't matter which one you use. So I'm just going to choose 1, 5. Okay, and I can label those points x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. That way it's easier to plug into this distance formula to find your radius. No. Okay, so then finding our radius here, we have the square root of x sub 2 is 1 minus x sub 1 is 2. That quantity squared plus y sub 2 is 5 minus y sub 1 is 1. Okay, from here we can just simplify. So we have 1 minus 2, that's -1. -1 squared is +1. Here we have 5 minus 1, that's 4. 4 squared is 16. Okay, that is just the square root of 17. And just like yesterday, I want you to leave it in radical form. Okay, and that is your radius. So now I have H, K, and R. Okay, so I can just plug that in to my standard form then. Okay, so we have X minus our H value. Our H value is 2, quantity squared, plus Y minus our K value is 1. That quantity is squared. And then that is equal to our radius, which is the square root of 17. And that quantity is squared. Okay, then just squaring that radius, we will have x minus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 17. Okay, again, that's why I want you to keep it in radical form, because your square will cancel out your square root. Okay. So again, first thing you want to do is find that midpoint to find your center. Okay, then find your radius using the distance formula, using your center point and one of the other 2 points you were given. And then you can plug it into that standard form for a circle. Questions? Okay, we'll do one more, same process here. We have endpoints on our diameter. So again, first thing we want to do is find the center. Okay, so we'll find the center using the midpoint. So I'm averaging the x's of my 2 points here and averaging the y's. So our x's are 7 and -1. That's divided by 2. Your y's are 6 and -8. Divided by 2. So we have 6 over 2 and -2 over 2, which is just 3, -1. Okay, so that is your center. So that is your H and K value. Okay, next I want to find the radius. Okay, and again, you're using your center point and one of the points on your diameter. Okay, so plugging, we would have our center point is 3, -1. And then one of our points on our diameter, I'm just going to use -1, -8. And again, we can label those points x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. So that we can plug it into that distance formula. So we have our radius is equal to the square root. Move this up a little bit here. X sub 2 is -1 minus x sub 1 is 3. That quantity is squared. Plus y sub 2 is -8 minus y sub 1 is -1. And that quantity is squared. From here, we can just simplify. So we have -1 minus 3 is -4. -4 squared is 16. Here we have -8 minus a -1. Okay, that's -7. -7 squared is 49. Okay, so we end up with the square root of 65, and that is your radius. And again, leave it as a square root, okay, because once you plug it into your standard form, you will square it, and that square root will cancel. So from here, I can just plug it into that standard form using h, k, and r. So we have x minus our h value is 3, quantity is squared, plus y minus our k value, that is -1. That quantity is squared. Changing colors because my pen ran out. Okay, that is equal to our radius squared. Okay, then we can make this look a little bit nicer. So we have x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared. So I can change that minus and negative to plus. And then that is equal to 65 since your square and your square root cancel. Questions? Okay, similar to yesterday, still using that standard form of a circle. You just have to use the midpoint and the distance formula this time. Okay, because you have to find that center point first. How are we feeling? Good?